It was the first Monday of the new semester at Hollow Creek High, the kind of school where popularity meant power and cruelty was a sport. The air buzzed with gossip, and the cafeteria smelled like fries, fake laughter, and fear. That's when she walked into Emily Rayner, the new girl. Her sneakers were scuffed, her backpack torn at the edge, and her eyes, they carried a quiet storm. No makeup, no jewelry, no fancy brand names. Just silence and a soft smile that didn't fit the chaos around her. Most kids barely noticed her. But the wrong ones did. At the back table sat Brittany, Kiss, and Jenna, the self-crowned rulers of the school. Perfect hair. Perfect lives. Perfect at destroying anyone who didn't fit their mold. Brittany squinted across the cafeteria. "Who's that?" she asked, her voice dripping with mockery. Kiss smirked. "Looks like Goodwill sent her to school." They laughed, a sound sharp enough to cut glass. Emily didn't react. She just found a quiet corner, opened her lunch, a peanut butter sandwich wrapped in reused foil, and tried to disappear. But that's when the storm began. The bullies didn't like to be ignored. Ignoring them was an invitation. By Wednesday, rumors spread like wildfire. They said Emily talked to herself, they said she lived in the woods, they said she was weird. Truth was, she was just different. And in Hollow Creek, that was enough to paint a target on her back. Friday, the day everything changed, Emily walked into the cafeteria holding her tray, eyes down, hoping for one peaceful lunch, but Brittany stood in her way. "Hey, new girl," she said, tilting her head, "you think you're better than us? You walk around like some ghost." Emily blinked, confused. "I just want to eat," she said softly. That's when Kiss shoved her tray, spilling milk across her clothes. The whole cafeteria went silent, eyes turning, phones raised. Then, with a cruel grin, Brittany snapped her fingers. "Let's show her where she belongs." In one brutal move, they grabbed Emily, lifted her small frame, and threw her across a lunch table. Trays clattered. Food flew, laughter echoed, phones flashed. Emily hit the surface hard, her sandwich flying across the room. For a moment, she didn't move. The laughter grew louder, but then something strange happened. Emily slowly sat up. Her eyes weren't tearful anymore, they were calm. Cold. Almost glowing. The lights above flickered. A low hum filled the air, one that no one else seemed to notice. The temperature dropped. She whispered something too quiet to hear, and every phone recording her suddenly froze. Screens glitched, the sound distorted. Brittany laughed nervously. "What's going on?" Emily stood, brushing crumbs off her shirt. "You shouldn't have done that," she said, her voice strangely steady. Kiss frowned. "What's your problem, freak?" Then, the lights went out. A scream echoed. Tables rattled. The cafeteria doors slammed shut on their own. Someone yelled, "It's a power cut." But it wasn't. When the emergency lights flickered back on, the bullies' table was empty. Their trays were on the floor, but they were gone. Emily picked up her backpack, calm as ever, and whispered, "Sometimes people need to learn what they put others through." She walked out, the cafeteria silent, students staring, terrified and awestruck. Minutes later, a loud crash echoed from the gym. Someone screamed again. The bullies stumbled back into the cafeteria, drenched, shivering, and pale white like they'd seen something impossible. They ran straight out the door. No one ever mocked Emily again. That afternoon, the rumors changed. Some said Emily had powers, others said she cursed them, but no one really knew what happened in that dark minute. All they knew was, from that day on, Hollow Creek High never treated the quiet new girl the same way again. They thought it was over, but that night, it was only beginning. The bullies of Hollow Creek High, Brittany, Kiss, and Jenna, didn't sleep a second after what happened in the cafeteria. They swore they saw something behind Emily's eyes, something not human. Brittany tossed in bed, replaying the moment. The flickering lights. The whisper. The cold air. She grabbed her phone, cracked after the cafeteria incident, and hit record. Her voice trembled. "If anyone finds this, it wasn't normal. Emily Rayner isn't normal. I saw shadows moving behind her. We shouldn't have messed with her." Then her light flickered once, twice, and went out. The screen froze, static filled the air, and the phone shut down by itself. Meanwhile, across town, Emily sat in her small attic room, staring at a candle flame. Next to her sat a box of old photos, one of her mother, a woman with the same calm eyes. Emily whispered, "I tried, Mom. I tried to be normal." The flame flickered like it was answering her. She wasn't a monster, she wasn't cursed, she was something in between, a protector of those who were hurt like her. Every time someone made another suffer, they saw a glimpse of what they'd done, the fear, the pain, the darkness they created. That's what the bullies saw in the cafeteria. Their own cruelty, turned back on them. The next morning, Hollow Creek buzzed like a hive. Everyone was talking. Did you hear what happened to Brittany? She won't come back to school. I heard Cass saw something in the gym, something with eyes. Emily walked the halls, quiet as ever. The same whispering voices now parted for her. No one dared look her in the eye, but she didn't smile, she didn't feel powerful, she felt tired. At lunch, she sat alone again until a small voice said, "Can I sit here?" It was Noah, a quiet boy everyone ignored. Skinny, nervous, always hiding behind his hoodie. Emily nodded. Surprised, Noah smiled shyly. "You don't scare me," he said softly. She raised an eyebrow. "You should." He shook his head. "You didn't hurt them. You just made them see what they did. My sister was bullied too. I wish someone like you was there for her." Emily's eyes softened for the first time. She smiled, not the quiet, guarded one, but a real one. That afternoon, they sat beneath the oak tree behind the school. Noah told her stories about his sister, about loneliness, about how cruel kids could be. Emily listened quietly, the wind rustling through the branches like a lullaby. She told him a secret that her mother used to say, "Pain is a mirror. What you give to others will find its way back to you." Noah nodded. "Guess your mirror works pretty well." She laughed, a sound she hadn't made in months, but peace never lasts long at Hollow Creek. That night, Brittany gathered her friends on a group call. "We're not letting her win," she said. "She made us look stupid." Jenna whispered, "Britt, please stop. She's not normal." Cass muttered, "No. She's just a freak. We'll teach her who's boss." They didn't know Emily was already listening, not through a phone, but through the shadows themselves. The next day, the bullies tried again. They cornered Emily behind the gym, phones ready, recording, voices trembling between fear and pride. Brittany sneered, "You think you can scare me with your creepy act? Try it again." Emily didn't move. Her voice was quiet but sharp as glass. "I don't have to try. You already live with what you did." And suddenly, their phones lit up, showing their own faces, crying, screaming, mocking. Every cruel moment they'd caused someone. They dropped the phones. Cass screamed. Jenna ran. Brittany fell to her knees, shaking. Then Emily whispered, "Now you know what it feels like." The next morning, all three bullies came to school early. No makeup. No laughter. They found Emily at her locker. Brittany looked down. "I'm sorry," she said, voice cracking. "For everything." Emily didn't answer right away. She just nodded. "Don't be sorry for me," she said softly. "Be sorry for the next person you'd hurt." And with that, she walked away. 3 weeks passed. The school changed. People started standing up for one another. The cruel laughter that once echoed through the cafeteria was replaced by real laughter, softer, kinder. And Emily, she wasn't invisible anymore. She was untouchable, but not because of fear, because people finally understood that kindness wasn't weakness, it was power.